Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coffee Cast. My name is Coffee Break, and I am here to bring you yet another game in Amateur Attack Thursday. But in this cast, I am not alone. I have with me our winner from the last two rounds, AciesPure.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It is awesome to have you with us. I'm glad that I will be able to have a guest caster early on in the night. We have two completely new players here. I was looking up these two players. Spencer, who is the Zerg spawning at the 6 o'clock position, is a bronze player with about 200 wins. LightKite is a gold player with about 90 wins, but he does a lot of custom versus AIs. Have you seen Spencer's play at all, Pure?
Yeah, actually, I pretty much brought him up on this game with AciesPure and his brother Jermaine. So he's actually a RL friend of mine, so I've played quite a few games with him.
Okay, can you give me insight into his general strategy? Is he kind of an aggressive Zerg? Is he a macro Zerg? What do you think about him?
Most of the time he's hit or miss. Usually he decides basically what he wants to do. You know, he's bronze. He doesn't really have very many builds. He just kind of reacts to the opponent and plays aggressive or macro depending on what they do.
Okay, fair enough. MLG Metalopolis, a good map for a couple of lower level players because it is just so popular. You play ridiculous amounts of games on this one. I've always been a fan of MLG Metalopolis, and I know they took it out for a little while, but I am totally stoked they brought it back.
Yeah, that was from a thread on Battle.net. There was a thread that wanted Metalopolis black, and naturally Blizzard had to give in.
Is that really how it happened? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
There's also a Reddit post, too.
Yes.
People complaining that they love the map too much.
The power of Reddit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a Reddit account and if you're not subscribed to our Starcraft, you really, really need to, because it is so awesome. That is where I get pretty much all of my news about the foreign scene, about the Korean scene, everything. It's a great place to be.
See, I don't have a Reddit account.
Pure. I almost have to kick you off the cast just for saying that. Careful, just one more slip up and I'm gonna have to kick you off right in the middle of the game. We do.
Not seeing a Forge Fast expand out of LightKite.
No,
Forge
we are
Fast
not.
Expand can be viable on Metalopolis.
Indeed it can, but it is very susceptible to a roach bust, especially in these lower leagues of play when you don't necessarily get all that experience against builds like that.
Yeah. Scouting is also a important element of the Forge Fast Expand. If you don't scout, you don't know the roach bust is coming, so you don't have cannon, so you lose.
Exactly. We do have metabolic boost on the way for our Zergling speed. That is such a nice upgrade to get as Zerg. It allows you to gain complete map control, gain both of the watchtowers early on so you know exactly what the Protoss is doing when he is doing it. And yeah, there's not much else to say about that. I guess at this level of play, it's a little bit difficult to know what exactly to interpret your opponent's moves as. I know that's really one of those stepping stones you have to hit. And actually, there's a good question for you. What do you think is one of the most important things for a lower level player who's looking to climb the ranks a little bit?
What I think is the most important thing is for the player to get good build orders, get them down so they know the timings of their builds, so they know what their builds lose to, so they know what to scout for. And then once they know what to scout for, they can know how to transition and how to not lose.
Very well said, really. I would completely agree in learning those build orders, and just make sure you're good at 1 or 2 build orders for each race before you start trying to do any goofy things or learn new build orders. We do have a Roach War now almost complete for Spencer, as well as his natural expansion just getting started here.
And we do see double gases for the Protoss, and that is 4 gateways. 4 gateways.
4 gateways with double gas. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I was never 4-gater. I hate the 4-gate. But I was always under the impression that 4 gates happened with a single gas and not double gas.
Usually you see the single gas in PvP because sentries are basically worthless. If it's a 4-gate versus 4-gate, sentries will not do any damage, therefore lose. So I usually see the 1 gas 4-gate in PvT or PvP. But sometimes I see the double gas 4-gate with 4 or 5 sentries, force field the roaches so they can't do anything.
Okay.
If you catch the Zerg opponent off guard, the double gas 4-gate can be very effective.
Okay, well then, there you have it, folks. A very nice analysis, strategy analysis from AciesPure there on the 4-gate versus Zerg. Now, it looks like it might be fairly effective if LightKite decides to push out fairly shortly, as there are only 4 roaches on the field, no more in production, and this expansion is up, so Spencer put resources into getting this expansion rather than getting combat units. So as soon as this warp gate tech finishes up, which it just has, we could be seeing a lot of damage being done.
And also, if you look at the vision of Spencer, he does in fact know that there are 4 gateways there, so I would expect to see some kind of reaction, with like 3 or 4 spine crawlers or something like that. But if he does not make any more roaches, he probably will not be able to hold.
Indeed, he won't. Now, this timing a little bit off by LightKite. His warp gate is finished. Oh, and he is supply blocked 42 out of 42 and decides to expand behind it instead. I don't know if if it was his intention to expand or if it's just because he fell a little bit behind. I guess he could.
Looks like he's pushing out.
Yeah, it does. Maybe he's going to do a little bit of pressure and then fall back to his expansion. That would be my best guess, I guess.
An economic 4 gate. Something you don't see every day.
No, it isn't. We do have 3 spine crawlers down now. As soon as these units for LightKite stepped into vision of that watchtower, 3 spine crawlers were dropped for Spencer. Nice play. And a few more roaches have been morphed in, as well as a few zerglings. So that was a very good reaction by Spencer, just kind of showing that he's getting that sense.
Yep. No proxy pylon yet out of LightKite, so his reinforcements and the timing is going to be really delayed.
Oh,
might not
goodness,
see him actually get to the Zerg base.
Yeah,
until the 10-minute mark.
I almost wonder, he does have a forward pylon going down now. I think it might just be better to fall back and not do it, actually. There are such things as a defensive 4-gate. It's not very popular, obviously, because it's 4 gateways. I mean, you're at your maximum potential for one base. It's kind of like overloading your system and then trying to do a little bit more by building that nexus. But this is just coming so late. I can't do anything.
The nexus is done. There's a 5th gateway coming down, and there's the first warping of units at the proxy pylon. That is not that many units, and he does not have a single sentry there. So if you look at the resources, he's got tons of gas. He could really use some sentries.
I agree, and if you look back at his main base even, he does have 3 Zealots and a Stalker back there, and now it does look like he's going to decide instead to fall back. I agree with his decision here. It is too late to be able to do anything, really.
Actually, if you look at the units tab, he is actually ahead by 14 probes.
Is he really? My goodness. So, LightKite taking that early economic lead, I suppose. Spencer's actually supply blocked now. Yeah, that early economic lead, especially 36 to 20. That is a lot, especially at the 10-minute, almost the 11-minute mark. LightKite looks to be at a fairly good position in this game.
Yeah, I believe what we're seeing at Spencer's base is an overreaction. He's just still making units and not drones. I mean, if you look at his bases and look at the saturation he's got, and then look at LightKite's bases, he obviously has a much better economy at this point. And we're seeing around a drone from Spencer right now.
Yes, we are, and I would agree with that. That's kind of one of those learning things that you have to overcome as a Zerg player, is when to drone and when to make units. And like you said, here's just a typical overreaction. Spencer thought the 4-gate was coming, made units, and went, oh crap, there's no 4-gate, and suddenly he's so far behind in the harvester count. He's in a lot of trouble, and it looks like LightKite might be looking to do a little bit of pressure again here.
We do see a robotics facility in LightKite's base producing that Immortal. Might see a timing push with that to counter Spencer's roaches.
That would be excellent by LightKite. Immortal's obviously doing that ridiculous amounts of damage, really, to those roaches. 50 damage per shot. I do like the creep spread here from Spencer, I would like to say. Pushing up that top lane really allows his army to be reinforced quickly.
Yep, and also... Oh, what was I going to say? Man, I forgot.
It happens all the time.
Oh, right, upgrade. Spencer's got 1-1 attack on each of his... he just has 1 melee right now. He has 1 missiles on the way. There's lings surrounding all of these sentries. Sentries are all gone. The roaches have a nice surround on the stalkers, and the stalkers are retreating. These lings are just going to catch up and kill these stalkers. The stalkers should engage and do what damage they can before they die.
I agree. Now, that really just kind of goes to show why you really don't want to engage on creep if you don't have to. And if you do engage on creep, you have to get those force fields down to stop that surround. Before LightKite could even react, really, those Zerglings already had the surround.
There's a vulnerable Immortal if those lings can get there. Nope, they are running away. Spencer's seeing 7 Hydras on the way now. Still no tech besides the Robo facility, but we do see a Twilight Council. 2 additional gateways coming out for LightKite.
I think
Spencer, no third base.
not yet. I think the tech switch into Hydralisks is a very, very good one. For those of you who don't know, Hydralisks versus Gateway units is a joke. Hydralisks will almost always win in that battle, especially if you get some roaches to buffer the damage. That is a very ye old strategy, not utilized too often anymore. Roach Hydra, you just get the roaches in the front, the Hydras in the back. Roaches take the damage, and Hydras do the damage. And it's really hard to stop for a lot of lower level players.
And we do have a push coming here from Spencer with Lings, Roaches, and Hydras. This is going to be very effective. We don't see any cannons at LightKite's natural, and he has an extremely small gateway army. So.
And this third base for LightKite, LightKite tried to put up a third base, but it got taken out, and he did not get the cancel on it, so there goes 400 minerals in that battle. And it looks like Spencer is looking to engage in this, sending the Lings in. First, Lings get a little bit too far ahead, now pulling back, and it looks like, there we go, now running down the ramp. Roaches and Hydralis pushing all the way up. Now, it looks like LightKite might be in a lot of trouble in this case. The Immortal has fallen, and now there is just no units left for LightKite, 83 to 56 supply, now pulling all their probes from his natural to his main base. Do you think that LightKite can come back from this?
Probably not. If he's sacking his natural here, and if you look at the mineral patches in his main, there's not that much left, but he does have quite the surplus of money, and he does have Templar archives, but he does not have Storm, and he does not have any High Templars, and he does not have any sentries. So at this point, if Spencer just A-moves, there's no chance for LightKite.
I agree. I think the only thing LightKite can really do is try to get a bunch of High Templar out and make Archons, and then just take all his probes and rush over to Spencer's base. Now it looks like Spencer is trying to push up this ramp. He does get the Cybernetics core. That is going to really hinder LightKite if he wants to make a comeback. Now these reserved units pushing all the way up the base. A force field finally going down.
A nice force field splitting that army in half, but it does not matter. Spencer just has too many units.
Yes, he does. Trying to warp in a couple zealots on top of that Zerg army. It's just not quite enough. That was a very well... And there's the GG from both players. How well-mannered. Spencer showing a little bit of prowess in that game. What do you think about that?
That was actually very well played by him. I have not played any games with him recently. He's obviously stepped up his game somewhat. He still makes low-level mistakes such as overreacting, but he's evidently getting better. And
the great thing about playing in lower levels, pretty much bronze to gold, and we don't mean any offense to you lower level players out there. This is why we do these. These are fun for us. But overreacting can so commonly turn out to be a big advantage for you, because yes, you overreact, you have all these units, and suddenly you have all these units, and you're able just to push out with that and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, the only downside to that is you don't have any kind of economy. So if you make a ton of units as a Zerg player, you go push, your push fails, you have no economy to remax on, and then you just get stomped in the late game. So it goes either way sometimes.
It really, really does. Pure, thank you very much for coming on and guest casting with me. It was a lot of fun. Do you have any remarks you'd like to make?
Nope, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to cast. I've actually never cast before, so
of course.
Apologize for any mistakes that I may have
made.
No,
you did a great job, man. You did a great job. I hope that you will be back for Tuesday, whatever I decide to name Tuesday. I hope you'll be back for Tuesday. Thank you once again very much for being here.
Alright, talk to you later.
You too.